You don't get closer to death than John Hartson did. A lump on his testicle, which he ignored, turned out to be cancer, which spread. Things got so bad that at one point in hospital, he stopped breathing and had to have emergency brain surgery to save his life.
Well, I first found a lump probably 4 years before I even got it checked. There was a lump at the bottom of my testicle, and it was there over the years. I just felt it there. And it slowly got a little bit bigger. It turned from like a little small nut size to probably like more of like a baked bean size, which is quite a difference. And eventually I spoke to my wife about it, and I said, I'm a little bit concerned here with this. And she says, go and speak to the doctor.
And she couldn't even feel it?
No. She said, go and speak to the doctor. I didn't. I told her a little white lie. I said I'd been to the doctor, but I hadn't. And I said everything was all right. Because at that time I was starting to panic a little bit. I was thinking there's something not right. And then what happened was, over a period of time, that lump was a tumour, cancerous tumour. And then over the next couple of years, it spread from my testicular cancer. It spread to my lungs and onto my brain. And then when I was eventually diagnosed, I was in quite a bit of trouble then, because they had to deal with the brain, the lungs. Cancer had spread all over my body, and I went into hospital, and I spent 6 weeks. I had 2 brain operations, I had a load of chemotherapy sessions, and I nearly died. I nearly died because of my ignorance, really, of my health. So my message is to people, if you feel any lumps at all, it's very important you go and get them checked. Don't ignore the signs. Do not ignore the signs, because it can spread. It can spread into certain parts of your body. And then it spread up to my brain. So I had 2 emergency brain operations. I had a load of chemotherapy to take the cancer cells, to try and kill them horrible red cancer cells that are swarming around your body. But also it attacks the chemotherapy, it attacks the white, shiny cells that keep you alive, keep your immune system going. I had a few issues on the ward. I had pneumonia. I couldn't stop coughing at one stage, and it looked very, very bleak. It looked as if the pneumonia was going to take me, and I stopped coughing. I did a lot of praying, strangely enough, because I wasn't a particular church goer, but I started to pray for my life. I started to pray, please God, give me this chance, and let me live for my kids, and all these type of things I used to say to myself when I was on my own. And I knew there was a lot of people praying for me as well, the whole Celtic family, the other general people, football supporters were very helpful and very encouraging, sending lots of emails and telegrams and flowers and everything, cards to the hospital in Swansea. The 2 hospitals, Morriston and Singleton, were just overwhelming in terms of the support. The cameras weren't allowed in. They gave me all the privacy, and the work that they did with me to get me back well, the chemotherapy program that I had to enter into. They would put me into a little private room, so I couldn't be seen sat out with. Not that I would have minded sitting and having my chemotherapy with all the others. They just made it that little bit more comfortable for me and my family, which I'll never forget. The times that they did that for me. They pulled out all the stops. So that was a really tough one. At the time, I didn't know whether I was going to live or if I was going to die. My wife was extremely worried. She was pregnant, and we had 2 little small ones. So that was a tough time, really, for the whole family, my immediate family and my parents, of course. The hospital, I had loads and loads of visitors, and everybody was very supportive. So I was really blessed and very, very fortunate to have come through that period of my life. And it's totally changed me as a person. It's totally changed my outlook on everything now. that break that I had, that lucky break that I had in terms of not passing, it's made me appreciate things a lot more. Time with my children and just life in general, really. So I'd like to think that it was an experience for me personally, which ended up a really good one, because maybe if I hadn't have come through that, then I wouldn't have raised £900,000 for the John Hartson Foundation, which is very close to my heart, to set up the charity foundation. We get great support. We fill out all the venues. Every single penny we make, we put back in to the hospitals and the hospices, and we give it to great causes. We really, really make a difference. And that's something that it's better than scoring any goal, playing at any stadium for any club. When I go with that cheque and you know, I give that cheque to the hospitals and I see the sick children, I go to the cancer wards, that is what does it for me. That is what makes me want to stay, keep doing it, keep raising money for great causes, keep saving people's lives, helping others. Because, you know, 9-10 years ago, I nearly lost my life. Somebody saved my life, and I can never, ever repay them back for that. So the best way I can do things is to do the charity, to raise the money, and by doing that, I feel as if I'm giving something back. I'm doing something very, very positive. So that's become a big feature now as well. You mentioned earlier on about missing the football. I've got my charity stuff to deal with as well. I phoned 2 people up yesterday. I get emails all the time. Can I go and visit this one? Can I go and speak to this one? About the gambling, about the cancer. I can't physically be everywhere, but I certainly do as much as I can to help people.
You ignored the lump for a long time, and it was eventually crippling headaches, really bad headaches that caused you a problem, and not very nice vomit as well. You went to A&E, and there's about 4 to 5 weeks of your life that you basically have no recollection of. You were out of it.
I was gone. I was out of it. My wife, my parents tell me the hospital was just loaded with visitors and friends and people that I've known for a long time. My sister did a brilliant diary while I was in hospital, which eventually went into the book. Victoria was always when John gets better. It was never like if John comes through or if John is to ever. It was always when John gets better. So that was brilliant. Everybody was so positive.
But it was touch and go, wasn't it?
It was touch and go, yeah.
You know, you stopped breathing at one time.
Yeah, I stopped breathing, and my wife said it was like a scene out of. It was just like a scene out of one of these emergency wards, where the patient comes in, and then or to put it in a better way, it's like when you see the you know, when the line flashes, and then it just goes. So that's the sign, and she was looking at that. My father collapsed. It was just bedlam at the time. So all these things that I was unaware of. My mother had a little moan at the nurses because I'd got myself out of bed and I'd ran away. I was pulling all the wires. I'd gone off, you know, I was out of it on all the medication, and I fell and I banged my eye on one of the corner tables, and I had a big black eye at one stage. So my mum, being a mother, she was having a go look at his eye. I can't believe you let him bloody run out the ward. And so it was all, at one stage, it was all up and down, good news, bad news, theatre, operations. It was just a mixed, you know, episode of emotions. So when I came out of that, and to see where I am now, 9 years on, you know, healthy, few scars on my head, but I can live with a few scars, I suppose. So, you know, it makes me very proud to think that I've come through that. And what I've done with the charity, you know, it's something good that I've done.
In the darkest days in hospital, what was it that kept you going?
My kids, I think. My kids and the people really close to me, I think. Because there were only 4 or 5 people that were named, that were allowed into the room. because of risk of infection. So that was my parents, my wife, my brother, I think. The kids couldn't come in.
But your eldest kids were old enough to understand. It must have been...
Yeah, they were old enough to understand. And they were 10 and 7, I think. And I can't remember now. Rebecca's 19 now. So I could see their little faces through the window, you know. That was horrific. So it was the kids, things like that, you know. When you bring the kids up and everything, and it's like, oh my God, I can't believe there's some 33, I think, something like that. I think, you know, they're going to lose their dad and all that. So you get all these thoughts, and one day you have a bad day, the other day, like you have a positive day and things like that. So your emotions are all over the place. During this time as well, you're on heavy medication. So it was not a nice experience, to say the least. And I know my heart goes out to everybody there's somebody today now, this minute, going in for an operation. There's somebody that's diagnosed with cancer now, you know, and it'll happen tomorrow, it'll happen next week, it'll happen in 3 weeks' time. Cancer doesn't discriminate. It's an awful situation, and I know that there's many people out there that are suffering.
You've mentioned the John Hartson Foundation, which has the main aim of knowing your balls, I think, is your catchphrase.
Yeah. Grab
part
life
of that,
by the balls.
Grab life by the balls. Men can do that, of course. But as part of that, you did the Full Monty.
Yes.
On mainstream TV.
Yeah.
I've not laughed so much in a long time. You were brilliant.
Oh,
did you enjoy it?
It was great. It was really, really good. It was something that is close to my heart when they asked me to do it. It was an awareness campaign where we were raising awareness of men's cancer, and in particular testicular cancer. So we had to have 12 training sessions with Ashley Banjo, who is just an absolute incredible specimen of a man. You know, he'd come in every morning and he'd do a handstand, and he'd go up on his arms, his feet would be in the air, and he'd be doing all these stretches, and he's so strong, so professional, and an absolute diamond of a man. So he choreographed it all, and what people don't know is, I'm letting people into a little secret, is that the stage was like marked for you individually. So you've got to go forward, and you've got to move to your left, and the person to your right's moving to your inside, and you go back, and you're down on the floor, and it took sort of best part of 10 sessions in London. So I have to fly down from Edinburgh, go to a dance studio. They'd be in Tottenham Court Road, all different parts of London, whatever the guys could all get there. You remember, you're talking about 6 or 7 guys here in the show: Jeff Brazer, Arj from the Uniways Essex, great lad. Ashley, they've all got their things going on. Tom from the band The Wanted, Ainsley Harriott, who's busy. Apologise if I've let Hugo Monnier, the rugby player, works for BT Sport. So it was difficult getting everybody together on one particular morning, but we all got behind it. We knew it was going to be huge. I think there was like 5 million people that watched the show. We did it in the original theatre in Sheffield, where the original Full Monty film was filmed. And it was warts and all. It was everything off. It was everything off.
We saw, John.
Yeah, you can imagine the rehearsals and everything else. But it was great fun, and it was for a brilliant cause. And I've since spoken to people, and they've said, John, while the adverts were on that night, I went to the toilet and I checked myself. So the amount of awareness we raised that night of the show, and that's what it all was about, because it is the awareness. It's people knowing what to feel for and to go immediately, because early intervention with cancer in particular can save your life. It stops the cancer from spreading. It stops it from going to other parts. If you can get on top of it and nail it down and get the right treatment in the right place, it makes such a huge difference. Don't leave it, you know, don't let it spread like I did, which nearly cost me my life. So it was great awareness. It was watched by millions of people. So much great feedback. People calling you brave and inspirational. But I was only doing something that might just help one person, you know. And we've all got one.
Entertaining is what I would call it.
It was entertaining, and it was a great show. It was packed, 2,000 people in the theatre, and a really good show. And I'd like to think that we nailed it.
You did, you did. It's so good to catch up with you today, and so well, and happy and everything. What does the future hold in terms of work? You're obviously doing a lot of punditry at the moment, but do you have managerial ambitions?
Well, I've been an assistant manager. I worked a little bit with David Hopkin last season at Livingston, who'd got 2 promotions. They now play in the top flight, the Scottish Premiership. I've been assistant manager of Wales with Chris Coleman. Never really took to that role, really. I didn't particularly, it didn't inspire me, if you like. I wasn't involved enough, and take nothing away from the group of players and what Wales achieved. Absolutely fantastic. I've mentioned I'm a proud Welshman earlier on. But the assistant manager thing, I didn't quite take to it. So management, I don't know. As the years are ticking now, I'm thinking maybe not. I think, you know, I've got 1 or 2 different gigs going on at the minute. I enjoy the media. I've been doing the media now for the best part of 10 years. I've done some big ones, you know, BBC. I've done all the big shows. Still working on big shows, of course, for BT Sport. I enjoy that. Do like the media. But unless it was probably something that I could really get my teeth into, and it's a job that I thought, yes, you know, this is really, really something I could go and do and do it justice and make an impact. I don't know. You don't know really what's around the corner, do you? But stay healthy, of course, is the main one as well. Stay healthy, and you know, just to remain busy and to keep going. Because I think people have said to me that try and remain busy. You know, keep activities is good if you got to get on a plane, and luckily for me, my diary is full. I know phone's ringing all the time, which is great.
You've said you're only 43, you've got a lot of life ahead of you, but it's been pretty eventful so far. How would you sum up your life so far?
Ups and downs, but more ups, a lot more ups. You know, the birth of my 5 children was just, you know, was just the best feeling any father could have. I've had a wonderful football career, my chosen profession. I got to the top. I played at the very highest level. My second chosen profession was the media. I've got to the top in that. So you know, I beat cancer, which again is my life. You know, it's my life. So it's been eventful. It's been great. It's been enjoyable. I've met some wonderful people. You know, during my life, I've travelled the world, you know, and I'm still doing it. So I would sum it up as, you know, ups and downs, but more ups.